Neutral, punishment, movement, fundamentals, and gooner material are some of the many reasons to absolutely D1 glaze whatever character you're playing. But what if I told you there was one fundamental factor that rules them all? How alpha chad you are just for picking the character. There's a character we can start off with that perfectly demonstrates pure masculinity in its most pure form. That character being Roll from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I don't need to explain the peak masculinity it takes to actually main and diehard this character specifically. It is the biggest fuck you to the beta chud concept of the tier list and meta we suffer with in the fighting game industry. From a quote-unquote chud technical standpoint, this character is completely useless, due to being extremely small and basically not really having a hitbox, on top of having painfully low damage outputs, which makes it all the more great when a role player completely steamrolls some beta chud sentinel who thought, oh, I'm gonna be S tier, I'll never lose, and then absolutely get railed by a role player. It should be required by law that if anyone picks a top tier character in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and loses to Roll, they should be legally forced to uninstall the game and never pick it up again, or at least for multiple decades until they recover from their embarrassing defeat. I can only dream of one day absolutely destroying someone with this character and having my dick double in size after doing so. Now that we got an obvious choice out of the way, it's time to get really controversial here. When we look at the Tekken franchise, especially Tekken 8, it's actually really hard to pick a true alpha male testosterone heavy character. But after decades of playing and truly understanding this game at a very deep level, out of all the research, all the games, everything, I have to say that if you play Eddy Gordo, you are an absolute fucking chad. Now, after saying that, I'm almost sure that there's a whole lot of scrub bitch made players out there absolutely scratching their head. What are you talking about? This is the character that has the 10 hit string from just mashing one button. This character's brain dead baby mode, is what an absolute noob scrub would say. When you actually do your homework and the research in terms of learning the Tekken franchise, you realize how oppressed the Eddy players have been since the dawn of time. For generations, quote-unquote fundamental characters have spread misinformation and propaganda about Eddy being a brain-dead baby moan character, when in ironic reality, many of the people who talk down on Eddy players play much more higher tier brain-dead baby mode characters that carry them in both neutral, punishment, and every single other area of a fighting game. But even with that propaganda, Eddy players couldn't give two fucking shits. And you don't even have to take my word for it. Just take it from the word of facts and logic by looking at these two professional players, Sparrow Jin and John Ding. Not only did Sparrow Jin get 33rd place at Combo Breaker 2024, but bro did it with a PS1 controller. And even though he didn't beat Arslan Ash, I can safely say he absolutely outmogged Arslan Ash. Truly peak masculinity at its finest. Now, let's talk about John Ding. Not only did bro take a picture which perfectly demonstrates the average Eddy Gordo player, but I have a special story that has been lost to time until this very video, because I was there for it. I was in a circle with a buddy of mine and a couple other competitive players. We were passing around a blunt, no big deal. But in the circle, in his own kind of zone, was John Ding. And John Ding was in a Slavic stance, smoking a cigarette. I don't know what's more alpha than that. There was literally no cameras around and bro was aura farming all of us combined. It's just, you can't make this shit up. Even without these two pro players in question, if you actually spend the time to really understand how hard Eddy players have it, when you see them win, you should understand how brilliant they are just to get their victory. The next character I want to talk about has a rather interesting history. specifically for having one of the highest drop rates of any character ever due to the sheer difficulty of playing the character, that being Angel from the King of Fighters franchise. Now, while this is quite common for not only fighting game player bases in general, but also specific characters in multiple fighting games, Angel is the most notorious one because she is exponentially harder than almost any character in the KOF franchise and is widely regarded to be one of the hardest characters to play in fighting game history. This is all due to a mechanic called the Unchained system. Now, while I really haven't dabbled too much with King of Fighters, this Unchained system basically involves you canceling moves into another move. A lot of games have this, but she is forced to use this unique mechanic while in frame-tight situations, having a plethora of options to go for, making it extremely difficult to decide what to go for in a split-second situation. And a lot of these also take some serious execution on top of that, so it's easy to say that this is probably one of the hardest fighting game characters in history to play, or at least be proficient at. So just imagine the player that stays around, willing to try out this system and get proficient at it. I gotta give props to you, because not only does absolutely no one fucking play King of Fighters, but you're playing the absolute hardest character in what is considered one of the hardest fighting games ever, at least from a 2D standpoint. And yes, I don't think that's a very debatable thing to say, that KOF is the hardest 2D fighter. Don't even try Smash Bros. But hey, as painfully easy as it is to bully the Smash community, I gotta give them credit where it's due for the sheer amount of dedication, despite big bitch baby made Nintendo oppressing them in every single way humanly possible and still finding the way to have a competitive tournament scene. So I'm going to give them a pity entry on this list. And I'll be honest, I had a really hard time picking an entry for this list. But after doing a few Google clicks and absolutely getting destroyed in this game many millennia ago, I have to say, if you main Game & Watch in Melee, you are an absolute fucking Sigma. Now you might be asking, why Game & Watch of all the characters is the most Sigma option? Firstly, he is the hardest character in the game to unlock, so you have to actually play the fucking game and go 1,000 miles out of your way just to be able to play the motherfucker. But not only that, he is also a low tier character for the specific reason that he remained unfinished in released builds of the game, because they did not have enough time to ship out the game with him fully functioning. So it is absolutely no wonder why this character struggles so much, on top of being famously a difficult character to play at the exact same time, and being a lighter character, meaning he takes much more damage than other characters. So now imagine beating someone with this low tier, unfinished, prototype looking ass character. That's pretty goddamn fucking Sigma if you ask me. And no amount of majors Fox can win will ever compensate for that level of Sigma. Next on the list, let's talk about the Giga Chad himself, the definition of being an alpha male, motherfucking Zangief. Now, I don't know much about Zangief in Street Fighter 6, but Zangief classically was another low tier hero, as he was one of the few characters for many years to not have any sort of projectile or way to cover distance whatsoever, relying on pure masculinity and testosterone to get near his opponent and absolutely spread their butt cheeks wide and hard. If you're one of these epic Zangief players and you're watching this video, not only am I honored of your presence, but I have absolutely no clue as to how you guys manage without Green Hand. My god, was that move fucking badass. I wish I got to mess around with it myself. I actually did a little bit on Street Fighter for the iPhone, believe it or not. But yeah, I want that move back too, even though I don't really play Street Fighter 6 myself. Shout out to Green Hand, hopefully it will come back one day. In the meantime, we can appreciate Green Hand being in our hearts, being there to love and care for us in our most desperate times of war and battle. While Zangief is one of the most famous examples of pure masculinity in the fighting game franchise, there is actually one character that outmogs and outmasculines Zangief in almost every single category, believe it or not. That character being Voldo from the Soul Calibur franchise. Now, the typical beta chud response to hearing that Voldo is the most masculine character in almost gaming history, I'd argue, is, what are you talking about? Look at this fruity, weird ass, freaky ass character. That's because it takes decades of fighting game experience and fundamentals to understand the true masculinity that Voldo brings to the table. Some might say Voldo's drip is kinda sus. That's because you would never have the balls to actually rock it yourself. Let's see you wear all that. Oh, you couldn't, because you're too much of a little bitch to ever even try it. Voldo is a 50-plus-year-old man, and he looks better than you ever will in your entire lifetime. Just think about that for a moment. But we're only getting started with Voldo, as just look at this idol animation. There is nothing that comes even fucking close to being more masculine than this idol stance. This is just peak masculinity in one idol animation, more so than almost any fighting game character combined. Voldo's also considered one of the harder characters to play in the Soul Calibur franchise because in order to play a freak, you need to be a freak. And not everyone has what it takes to be an absolute freak and mog with this character. I mean, just look at the fucking bullshit you're seeing on screen. There is nothing more fucking alpha than what you are seeing right now. Bro is literally carrying himself on 3 fucking blades, fucking attacking the opponent. Bro is air humping the air, and bro can literally fucking juggle you with his dick. What is more alpha than juggling the opponent with your own fucking dick? That is the quintessential definition of big dick energy. No exceptions, no contest, no argument. Please don't type something dumb in the comments. You will get ratio. I could D1 glaze this character to no end, and I don't even fucking play Voldo. I have tried to play Voldo in the past, and I will probably never be good enough to play this epic ass fucking character. Again, if you don't agree or understand what I'm saying, it's solely due to the fact that you do not have enough fighting game experience to truly appreciate and understand this character. It's like watching Xavier Renegade. You haven't earned the privilege to understand Xavier Renegade if you haven't gone through the trials and tribulations to understand just how much of a masterpiece that show is. The same is applied to Voldo. It takes decades of understanding fighting games and yourself to truly appreciate the character of Voldo. Because trust me, I was there. There was a time in my life where I thought Voldo was cringe. Then I learned how painfully wrong I was, and I am so glad I have learned my lesson of Voldo being the absolute quintessential definition of masculinity and aura in fighting game history. If you've made it to the end of the video, then thank you so much for watching. Not only do we have YouTube memberships up right now, but I also have a Patreon if you would like exclusive videos and content for that matter. I just uploaded something exclusive to the Patreon only, so I appreciate everyone who goes out of their way to support me on that stuff. But if you've watched this video, I appreciate that just as much. I had a lot of fun making this. Normally I've been doing a lot of collectible type content, kind of abandoned the gaming content for a while, but I love to get back into it, and I had an absolute blast making this video. So if you want to see more content like this, please let me know in the content, but don't worry, I'd love to still do both just as much. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.